Let's get right into the 9th chakra. Oh, look at that, we've got a whole bunch more people coming in. Okay, come on in. I gave a talk on the 9th chakra back in September to the Metaphysical Society in Comox. It was a 2-hour talk. I have to tell you, when I was going over the talk this week and trying to make it a 45-minute talk, it was really challenging. There's a lot going on with the 9th chakra. So I'm not even going to bother to talk about myself right now. You are welcome to come to my booth afterwards and we can chat and I can tell you all about me. I want to get you into and learning about your 9th chakra. Most people are familiar with the chakra system, yes? We have a general idea of what that is. Energy centers in the human body that govern certain areas of our human experience. And most of us are familiar with the 7 main chakras, right? The root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. I also work with the soul chakra. This is your 8th chakra. How many people are familiar with the soul chakra, have heard it? Or the Akashic records, have you heard of that term? Universal library. That's all housed up in your 8th chakra, your soul chakra. You also have chakras on your hands, right here in the center of your palm. These are your healing chakras. This is where from your heart, you extend out into the world, your creativity and your love for other people. It's where you put your hand on someone's back to make them feel better. That's coming through your hand chakra. Your healing heart is in your hand chakra. And on the bottom of your feet, you also have chakras, 2 at the very middle of your feet, and when you bring your feet together, they form 1 chakra. How many are familiar with the foot chakra? A few people. Most traditions where chakras are an understood part of the physical and energetic and emotional bodies have many, many chakras in them. In North America, we've diluted it down to the 7 main ones because these are the ones that make the most sense, and most of our human experiences are held in those 7 main chakra centers. It would not be a complete system, though, if we didn't acknowledge that there are many other energy centers in your body. Every joint in your body has a chakra in it, an energy center. And within your energetic bodies, your emotional bodies, your mental bodies, and your spiritual bodies, you also have energy centers. That's what your 8th chakra is. So where do you think or feel that your 9th chakra logically would be? Any ideas? That's what I thought. Turns out, at least with what I've been taught and shown, and when I say that, I mean through the way that information is given to me or downloaded for me, it's here. It comes back into the physical body. We have been taught, and we have this idea that things move up from the ground and they ascend, and as they ascend, they vibrate at a higher frequency, connecting more and in a deeper way with spirit, energy, God, goddess. And that as we move up through our chakras and we work with each of the areas of those chakras, we ascend, our vibration increases. All of that is absolutely true. Here's where it differs with the 9th chakra. Once you move up into your 8th chakra, your soul chakra, where every solution to every problem, every circumstance, and every situation that you had ever experienced in any lifetime, past, present, or future, is housed. So think about that for a moment. You know everything you need to know to live this human life. You have access to it. It's there in your 8th chakra. And you can come to someone like myself, and we together can do the work to help you remember. We can do past life work, we can do future life work. But ultimately, I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know on some level, because those stories are yours. They're in that 8th chakra. there's a filament that I've seen that attaches from the 7th chakra, your crown chakra, up to your 8th chakra. This sometimes needs cleaning. Your 8th chakra doesn't ever need cleaning because it's not in the physical body. It doesn't get bogged down with experiences that you're currently having in this lifetime or that you've brought in from other lifetimes. Now, could I have a volunteer come up? Because I really want to be able to illustrate to you how we come back into our 9th chakra. Who's feeling brave? Okay, come on up. And tell everybody your name, please.
Nancy.
This is Nancy. So Nancy has a 7th chakra right here, her crown chakra. And did you know that her crown chakra sits like this? It's halfway inside of her head and halfway outside of her head, because it's the portal taking you up into spirit, whatever that is for you. If you look with a soft gaze right about here, what do you see? And remember, your seeing can be a knowing. Move out of your physical eye. Does anybody see anything up here? Yes? A little bit of green. Excellent. Anyone else? Green. Green? A little bit of gray. Okay. When you're looking at somebody's energy and it's not something you normally do that you're used to doing, often what you'll first see is a bit of a shimmer. It's a little bit like an oasis as you see that first layer of the energy field that that person is holding. And there's a lot of energy going on in our crown chakras, our third eye, and our throat chakra. So there's usually a lot going on up here. From here, there's this filament. There's actually two. One is silver and one is gold. Again, from what I've experienced. Other people may have different experiences of this. That's completely fine. Right about here, can you sense that? This is where I'm sensing her 8th chakra. And that's normal for most people, about 1.5 feet. But it can be different. It totally depends on where you're at with it. So right here, there's this energy of her 8th chakra. Some people see it like a bubble with that iridescent rainbow on the outside. Now, coming from her 8th chakra on either side are two more filaments that go like this. Can I touch you? Mm-hmm. And enter back into her body right here in her 9th chakra. Can you feel that?
Because I can feel the energy between your hand and my head.
Yeah. So Nancy's saying she can feel the energy between my hands and your head, right? Yeah. Take a moment and just close your eyes and bring your awareness to this space between your solar plexus and your heart. And notice if you become aware of any kind of sensation, whether physical or emotional or color. Almost like vertigo. Yeah. A lot of people, when I'm working with their 9th chakra, actually fall backwards. Yeah. That's how I know we've activated it. Perfect. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Okay. So that's the visualization that I want you to keep in mind as I keep talking about this 9th chakra. It's connected. So here's the question that I have for you. Yes?
These two are gold and silver. What about these?
Thank you. They're also gold and silver. Yes. Thank you.
Does it matter which is where?
So she's asking, does it matter which is where? No. I've seen them intertwined. I've seen them side by side. And you may see different colors. That's completely fine. Trust what you see and what you experience. Okay? So there's a bridge that exists energetically between your solar plexus and your heart. That's what your 9th chakra is. When your 9th chakra is open, instead of your energy centers being individual energy centers in your body, they flow together just like a lava lamp. So imagine this beautiful, huge lava lamp that's the size of you, and in that lava lamp are all the colors of all the chakras, and they're moving together, and they're bumping up against one another, and they're massaging each other, and they're twining around one another. There's no blocks in your energetic, emotional, or spiritual bodies when the bridge between your solar plexus and your heart, when your 9th chakra, your trust center, is open. Everything starts to work together. Can you feel how different that is than compartmentalizing all of our human experiences? It's been really important for us to connect to the energy of our bodies through this system, this chakra system that's been handed down to us. And it's been really important that it's been compartmentalized up until now. Now we're in a time in our culture and in our societies where trust is becoming a major focus. Think about what's happening out in the world right now, wherever that thinking takes you. There's a lot going on that is testing our ability to trust that there's a bigger picture and purpose for our evolution and the evolution of the planet. There's a lot of things going on out there that make you go, Remember that song? Things that make you go, I don't know about that. I don't know about this whole God thing, and I don't know about somebody looking out for me, because look at what we're doing to one another. Here's what I'm hearing right now, and this is so wonderful. Imagine our evolution, not the physical evolution. We've pretty much arrived at our physical evolution. Imagine our spiritual, energetic, and emotional evolution mirroring our experience of growing up, from a child into adulthood, into old age, into crossing over. We are in our preteen to teenage years right now. So what do teenagers do? They rebel. They push the limits. They poke at you and they decide, they see what can they get away with. And if there's any teenagers in the room, I love you all, you're beautiful. We've all been there too. We've all done it, right? We've seen what we could get away with. We've questioned. We've also stepped into senses of social justice at times. We start to get really passionate about things that make us feel upset or sad or angry. And so we start movements, and we talk to our friends about it, and we start clubs, and we do things to try to change the injustices that we see as we come into this teenage consciousness. What I'm being told is that this is where we are as a species, regardless of how old you are or how young you are. Okay. One of the things as a teenager that we have to learn through experience is who and what can I trust? Because we're stepping out of our parents' arms. We're stepping out of a lot of things being provided for us without us having to struggle or work for them. And we're standing into who we're going to become as an adult from all these experiences of being a child and being a teenager. Where in your bodies do you feel you hold those experiences? Any of your experiences. Joyful ones, unjoyful ones, traumatic ones, funny ones. All over. Each of you holds these experiences in different places in your bodies. When we're working with chakras, we're of the belief that it is those experiences and your response to them that create your experience of everything else in your life. They create the filter with which you look through and expect your life experience to unfold. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to, but just curious for a nod of heads. Okay, so are you willing to trust your body and its ability to hold those experiences for you until such time as you are ready to do the healing work that you may need to do around them, or the acknowledgement that you may need to give them? This is the only place where those experiences are going to stay. The 9th chakra teaches us that we can trust our bodies. You can trust your body to tell you the truth of every experience and situation that you've ever had. or will have? How many people in the room get goosebumps when they hear a truth? How many people have an emotional reaction, a visceral reaction to something really beautiful and loving? What is that? It's your body communicating with you. So why would you go from your 8th chakra up here that's very spiritual and highly evolved and all your stories are there and have to come back into your physical body? Because you came here to be a human being. Maybe you've heard the saying that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. There are things you can only heal by coming back into a human body again. There are experiences you can only have by being a human being. This is something else that I learned recently. This, being a human being, well, first of all, it's not for the faint of heart. Secondly, not only do you have to want to come back as a human being, you have to earn the right to come in as a human being. Being a human being is a stage of evolution that requires an enormous amount of work and training in spirit before you're allowed to come in and have human being experiences. We are not the low dog on the evolutionary scale of spiritual evolution. So feel that for a moment. For how many people is that a new idea? It was certainly new for me when I heard it. When we connect with that 9th chakra, that trust center, we learn that our bodies are the holiest of holies. More sacred than any temple, any mosque, any church, any ancient site. This right here is the most important tool, the most important vehicle that you have for your journey through each of your human lifetimes. But what does our culture teach us about our bodies? That they're not perfect, that they need to be changed, that they're not good enough, that they're sinful, that we have to shed them in order to connect with God or Goddess or Yahweh or Flying Spaghetti Monster or whoever it is that you pray to. That these things aren't good enough. That's what we're taught. What the 9th chakra teaches us is that these are absolutely the most important part of this human experience. Treat these bodies beautifully. Trust that these bodies are going to take you through this human experience that you're having. Easier said than done. Last time I gave the talk, it was a cricket. This time it's a phone. I want to share with you some of the characteristics of the 9th chakra before we go into some more of the channeling that's been going on here today. Because we love to understand things as a species. We like to make sense of things. That's why we invented linear time. We want to have a sense of our life and our life experiences. And all the other teachings of chakras do the same thing. So I sat in meditation and I said to my guides, my peoples, I need the details now. So here are the details. The energy color of your 9th chakra is chartreuse. It's a bit of an obscure color. You often find it in mosses and lichens, this beautiful iridescent glowing chartreuse color. Chartreuse, when you work with chartreuse, it opens you to total and complete trust in higher source, divine guidance, and the purpose and reason for everything. It also connects you to Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Muhammad consciousness, Avatar consciousness, all in this amazing color. The location, we talked about it being right here, front and back, just like all the other chakras. The organ is the entire body. The skin, the bones, the sinew, the cells, the tissue. Think about your skeleton for a moment. How often do we take a moment to think about our skeletons, except for Halloween? Thank goodness for Halloween. Without your skeleton, you could not exist in this gravity. It's hugely important. So your energy of that 9th chakra resides in that skeleton. Beautifully, too, this is just coming in now as well, the skeleton is the last thing that's remaining. It's what we find of our ancestors, of the people that have come before us. We find the teeth and the bones. They take a really, really long time to disappear into the earth. There's a real permanence there in that skeletal structure, isn't there? The sense is faith and trust. The element is soil. The dirt beneath your feet is the element that connects to the 9th chakra. Because not only does the 9th chakra teach us to trust our bodies, to trust our own selves and our own knowing, it also teaches us to trust the earth that we walk on. That this earth can hold us, that it can take care of us, and that equally we can take care of her. Also, soil is what we grow our food in. Without it, we cannot survive. The gem is moldavite. Who's familiar with moldavite as a gem? Moldavite is a tektite. A tektite is a gem or a crystal or a stone that is created when a meteor hits the earth. And the force and the heat of the meteor, when it hits the earth, it melts the sand or the soil that it lands in, fusing particles called tektites with some of the metals and elements and minerals that are in the meteor. Each meteor impact site on Earth where tektites have been found have a unique tektite to that meteor impact site because of the different elements that are present when that meteor hits the Earth. And without those meteors hitting the Earth, it is believed we wouldn't have a planet of water. And theorized that many of our life forms, especially the bacterial ones, came to us from outer space as travelers on these meteors. So it makes more sense even that moldavite would be the gem. Energetically, moldavite connects us to off-world energies. It's very grounding for anyone whose energies don't originate here on planet Earth, who have had experiences in other dimensions and other realms. So again, working with the gem, moldavite, helps us to connect to that 9th chakra energy. The aromatherapy is frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and lemon. And I invite you afterwards to come over to our table because I have now created this blend with a gem of moldavite in a spray bottle for you to be able to use as one of the tools to connect you to your 9th chakra. And it smells amazing. The action of your 9th chakra is silence, which we don't have here today because there's some really amazing games going on out there. Without the ability to sit in silence, the cacophony of the world around you will constantly be a distraction for you opening to your own self-awareness and your own journey of healing, of love, of trust. Every once in a while, you need to sit and be quiet and listen to what is being said to you. That is how you connect with your inner guidance. And then you learn to trust that inner guidance through that silence. The energy connection is accepting life-giving breath into your entire body. So for a moment, take a nice deep breath in. Feel how that fills you up. You can live without food for up to 3 weeks. You can live without water for up to 7 days. You can live without breath for up to 7 minutes on the outside of not breathing, with very rare exception. The primary fear associated with the 9th chakra is extreme lack of trust in the flow and the cycles of life. We touched briefly upon this fear culture that we're living in right now, the external things that are happening in the world that cause us to be fearful. Just before this US election, there was a report that went out by the FBI that maybe there might be a terrorist attack in the United States. Can you imagine what that is doing to the energy of the country? How easy it is to fall into the fear of that. And it's a legitimate fear. This isn't about denying fear when you work with the 9th chakra. It's about recognizing and acknowledging that fear and then going deeper into that fear and asking, why do I have this fear? Where is it coming from? What is its source? And then working with that source in order to understand and heal that fear, if that's what needs to happen with that fear. The primary strength of your 9th chakra is peace, centeredness, acceptance, release, releasing the need to control that which is beyond your effect. This is a really important part of the 9th chakra, releasing that which is not within your control. And one of the biggest things that is not in your control at all is what other people think of you. So part of what the 9th chakra asks you to do is to let go of judgment, negative judgment of yourself, most importantly, and then of others. Because it doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking of you. It's also none of your damn business what anybody else is thinking about you. You have no control over any of their life experiences that give them that filter that when they meet you, they make a decision about you. Similarly, they have no control over what you think of them. All right? So imagine for a moment that you're walking down the street and you've got it in your mind that everybody's thinking about you and they're looking at you and they're judging your clothes and how you're walking. And guess what? Everybody else is worrying that you're doing that same thing to them. 90% of the time, nobody is thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. 10% of the time, they are thinking about you. What if in that 10% of the time that they're thinking about you, they're thinking, wow, she looks really pretty today. I wonder where she got that sweater. I'd like to have it. What if in that 10%, they weren't putting you down, they were raising you up? You're putting yourself down. You have this negative self-talk, most of it unconscious, that's coming from the internal fear factor, which is all the things that you've grown up with, all the things that people have said to you, about you, that you've made true for yourself, all the stories that other people have told about you that you thought maybe had a grain of truth in them and you never questioned if they did or not. These are all the internal messages that you're giving yourself of, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, that can't be my experience, everybody's better than I am, I'm not a good artist, I'm not a good writer, I'm not a good singer, I'm not a good. And all of that damages your body. And here we're learning that the body is the holiest of holies. That when you walk into a church or a temple, you light a candle, you speak quietly, you are respectful. Why wouldn't you do the same thing for yourself? Trusting that the beautiful things you say about yourself are true. There's probably more, but so far I've learned that there are 6 ways that you can begin the journey of healing your 9th chakra or connecting to your 9th chakra. And I want to take a moment here to say this. I don't have to be right about any of this. I did a Google search after I received my downloads and started working with my clients on the 9th chakra out of curiosity to see what else is going on out there. A lot of my studies around the chakra system have shown me that there are lots of different traditions around chakras that do identify many other chakras besides the first 7. And most of what I found about the 9th chakra correlated with what I was already learning, except for the location. What I did learn is that people all over the world, are opening up to their 9th chakra energy right now. And that it often comes in first as a feeling of my body doesn't fit me anymore. This is not comfortable. There's something about my life that isn't fitting me, that doesn't feel right. A niggling of what I'd like to be doing with my life if only I didn't have that job that I had to go to, those belief systems that told me what is right or wrong about my relationships. If only, if only. When you move into love and trust as a partnership, you can start to move into the knowing of what it is that you need to do in order to shed that feeling of restriction that you're carrying around with you in your bodies. Healing your trust wounds. Your trust wounds are every time you have felt betrayed by somebody else's actions. That you have felt abandoned, that you have felt unheard, that you have felt hurt. And they're all very real. They're all very real. And you carry them with you. And they become the way in which you see your experiences around you, and they become the way in which you attract to you experiences that validate those wounds. You can't trust anybody. Everybody's out to get you. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. Really? Is that true? Is it really true that there hasn't been a single person ever in your life who did something for you just because they wanted to? Just because it felt good for them to do something nice for you? And I'm sure that there's lots of people in this room here who can say, yeah, of course, of course, of course. I know I've had clients come to see me who are absolutely and utterly convinced that they are unlovable, that nobody can be trusted, and that human beings are terrible, awful people, and they just can't wait to get off the planet. So what we do with those trust wounds is to question them, is to say, is it really true that just because you've had your heart broken, you can't let love back into your life ever? What if you moved into this idea that trust is a choice? So this is one of the other steps to connecting with your 9th chakra, your trust center. Start practicing the idea that trust is a choice that you make based on everything you've experienced in your life that you put on somebody else, and that it's not actually about them. That every time that little old reel comes up about I can't trust, just stop it for a second and ask, first of all, is it true? And second of all, it's my choice. You can choose to trust everybody until such time as somebody proves to you that they're not trustworthy, instead of deciding that everybody's untrustworthy until they've proved themselves to you. Right? Releasing and forgiveness work. We're going to do a little bit of this in a few minutes. I want to take you through the first two steps of opening up your heart chakra. Your forgiveness work is about forgiving yourself primarily. It's not about forgiving anybody else. Okay? And the release work is about giving back to everybody else anything of theirs that you've chosen to carry for them. And we'll go into that when we do the visualization. Total honesty. You cannot work with your 9th chakra energy unless you are in total honesty. This is also something we're not taught in our culture. Honesty is the best policy, except for. And sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's true. There's a discernment that we learn about how and what to say when we're being honest. But here's the difference. I'm not talking about being honest with other people. How are you feeling? I'm feeling fine, when actually I'm feeling like crap. But I'm going to tell you I'm feeling fine because we're at the grocery store and you don't have time to listen to everything that I need to tell you about, so I'm feeling fine. What am I being honest about with myself? Am I feeling fine? Oh, I'm actually not feeling fine. Okay, what do I honestly need to do about that? What can I do for myself about that? One of the other aspects of working with your 9th chakra is taking full and total, complete responsibility and ownership for who you are, how you show up in the world, and how you experience the world. You let go of blame. Learning to trust yourself and owning your own story is a part of that. What are your stories? You all have them. Some have more than others, but they're all the stories, the events in your life that are your stories. And then there is the whole story of your life that you tell yourself. You own that story. It is not anybody else's. The other part of the opening that we're going to do in a couple of minutes is taking responsibility and owning what you have given away to other people over your lifetime. I want to ask you 2 questions, and I don't need you to answer them to me. I want you to answer them for you. And from these 2 questions, we're going to move into the visualization. The first question is this, to ask of yourself, am I ready, willing, and able to do the release and forgiveness work necessary to move into my 9th chakra activation? Just sit with that. Your body's a pendulum. Have you heard this before? Right? So we tend to move towards something that we really want, and we tend to move back away from something that we don't really want. This is our yes, this is our no. When you answer these questions, let your body answer the question for you, not your mind. Don't think about what you should be doing or where you should be on your spiritual journey or your human journey. Just let your body answer. And if the answer is no, let that be a gift from your body to you, letting you know that for whatever reason, and with no self-judgment about that reason, now is not the time. The things we said earlier around doing your trust wounding work, there may be more of that that needs to happen first before you are willing and ready to say, I'm going to own it all. Don't make yourself wrong about it. Okay? The other question is, am I wanting to be held fully accountable to myself for all my actions, reactions, responses, and experiences? And again, let your body answer for you. So I want to take you into this journey of opening up and clearing and healing your 9th chakra. We aren't going to necessarily do all of it today. There may be some miraculous healings, and that would be wonderful. That isn't the intention or the goal here. It is for you to have the opportunity in a brief period of time, with permission granted from your higher self and your self-self, to give back that which is no longer yours to carry and take back that which is yours to carry. Does everybody feel ready to move into the visualization, regardless of what your answer was to those questions? Awesome. And just sit with it, and you just have your own experience of it, okay? So making yourselves as comfortable as you can, grounding yourself. I invite you to take a beautiful deep breath in, and on the exhale, just let yourself feel heavy in your body. Take another nice deep breath in, and let that body relax into your chair. Let your shoulders slump. Let your belly relax. Another nice deep breath in. And on the third exhale, releasing any worry, tension, fear, concern, pain out on that breath. And then bringing your awareness back into these beautiful bodies. Bring your hands up in front of you, in front of your solar plexus, palms facing one another. And allow yourself to feel energy building between your hands. It may feel a bit tingly. You might feel a bit of pressure pushing back on your hands. You may feel heat. You may feel cold. You may have an entirely unique experience of this. What I invite you to do now is to visualize that what you are holding between your hands is a beautiful bowl or sphere or vase with an opening in the top. And paint it in however you want to, allowing whatever colors or textures, whatever, paint it in. Now into this space, I want you to place every single story or belief or experience that you have willingly, consciously or unconsciously, taken from somebody else when they have given it to you. And just let that flow out of you and into this beautiful container in whatever way it does for you. It could be names kids called you in elementary school. It could be a belief that your father told you about what you were capable of, or your mother, or your best friend, or your spouse. It could be someone's anger that you said, I'll hold that for you, or their pain, or their story. And let that container get as big as it needs to get in order to hold everything that you are today willingly letting go that isn't yours to carry any longer. And when it feels that that container is as full as it needs to be for today, invite to show up in front of you the energies of these people. And you may see them, you may know who they are, you may not. Don't worry about it, just let them show up. And now with total love in your heart, you are going to give them back those stories and those beliefs and those words so that they can do the work that they need to do around those things that they gave to you. And if you encounter resistance, just again with love in your heart, give them this container and allow all of those stories to go back to them. And when you feel that some of that has been accepted and lifted from you, just give your hands a little shake and a wiggle. And then do one of these. Just, okay. Sweeping it away, giving it back to them. You have given them a gift so that they can do the work that they need to do with those things that aren't yours to carry. Now there's this big space inside of you. And probably in some parts of your body, you didn't even know you were carrying these things. We want to do something with that space. So similarly to before, bring your hands together. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it out. Take another nice deep breath in. And let it out. Relaxing into this new space in your body. And another nice deep breath in. And now seeing again a beautiful container in front of you. You are to send out an invitation to every person that you have ever willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously, given a part of your story to. Any names you've ever called them, any doubts of yours that you've made theirs, any stories that you have given them to carry for you. And you only gave them those stories because it was too much for you to carry them in that moment. And just like you, they willingly accepted that responsibility. But now it is time for all of your stories to return to you. So let that visualization unfold of the energy of all of those stories and beliefs that you've given to others flow back into your container. And let that container get as big as it needs to get energetically to hold that. Now, with total gratitude in your heart, bring your hands to you, to that beautiful space between your heart and your solar plexus. And allow your bodies to fill up so that you are full and you are complete and you own all of your stories so that you can do your work and your healing with all of these parts of yourself. And then take a breath and shake your hands. And know this. You can do this for yourselves anytime you want to. You can also have somebody else do it for you. Because sometimes we need to do this work with others to remind us that we all came here to be human, to remind us that we came here to be in compassion and understanding of one another and all the different ways that we show up as human beings and all the different choices that we make that give us our life experiences. You now, whether you believe it or not, whether you know it or not, are more full than you have been in a very, very long time. And my hope for you moving forward from this experience is that you will know that and you will own that. And you will show up in the world and say, here I am, warts and all. Thank you.